This is 3 News Daily.
Hello again, Northeast Ohio. Welcome back to 3 News Daily on this Monday, April 10th. I'm Stephanie Haney here with your top stories from WKYC.com. And we start in Louisville, Kentucky this afternoon, where police have confirmed at least 4 people are dead after a shooting in downtown this morning. Police also say 8 victims have been taken to the hospital, including a Louisville police officer. Calls of an active shooter and shots fired at the Old National Bank came in around 8:30 this morning. Police confirmed the shooting suspect, described as a current or former bank employee, was dead on the scene. However, at this time, officers don't know the circumstances of the shooter's death. Now, back here in home and Lake County, authorities are investigating a body being found near railroad tracks in Painesville Township. The Lake County Sheriff's Office says it's a woman's body found around 6:30 a.m. Sunday morning at the CSX Railroad crossing at Bohall Road. The Sheriff's Office Detective Bureau is currently investigating to see if the death was intentional, an accident, or a crime. Now in Elyria, a man has died in a house fire on Gates Avenue. We also know a second man is in the hospital recovering this afternoon. Officials say the fire broke out around 8 o'clock Sunday morning. When firefighters arrived, they found the first man already dead on the second floor and rescued the second man from the first floor. The fire chief says the house is a total loss.
Inside is totaled, a lot of structural damage, so we are doing what's called an emergency demo because we're worried about the collapse of the roof and second floor.
Now the fire chief also says that they're still investigating the cause of this fire. And 2 men are in critical condition this afternoon after a shooting outside of Walmart in Steelyard Commons on Sunday night at around 8:30. Cleveland police say they found the victims about 4 miles away on Gertrude Avenue. Police say a 25-year-old man was shot in the chest and arm and another was shot in the ear and ribs. So far, police haven't made any arrests. We'll continue to follow this story as it develops. Now, Governor Mike DeWine is in Columbiana County today for the ribbon cutting of the new permanent health care clinic built in East Palestine after the toxic train derailment. After that, he heads to New Waterford to meet up with Ohio Department of Agricultural plant health inspectors. They'll be collecting plant tissue samples from area farms to be analyzed for any chemicals and compounds associated with that train derailment. Now in West Geauga, the Uvalde Foundation for Kids, which is a national nonprofit dedicated to ending school violence, is recognizing the high school student who reported finding a bullet last Monday, potentially saving the lives of who knows how many of his classmates. We are not naming this student, but we can tell you he'll receive the foundation's National Student Hero Award. On April 3rd, police say 18-year-old Brandon Morissette brought a handgun to West Geauga High School with the intention of shooting multiple students. Morissette has been arrested and charged with attempted murder and inducing panic. Now today in Akron, a grand jury will meet to hear evidence in the police shooting death of Jayland Walker. Prosecutors will present all 8 officers involved in the Walker case to the grand jury. Each of the defendants will have an opportunity to testify if they choose to before that grand jury, and then it'll be up to the jury to decide whether charges will be filed after they hear all of the evidence and deliberate. The city's chief prosecutor, Craig Morgan, broke down the grand jury process, answering questions on Friday.
The purpose of the grand jury is to determine whether sufficient probable cause exists to charge a person or persons with a particular offense or offenses. If the grand jury determines that there's sufficient probable cause to charge an individual with an offense, that formalizes the complaint into an indictment, and it starts the traditional criminal justice process.
All right, in other news, let's check on the GoFundMe campaign created to support former Amherst bus driver Jackie Miller. She has found hundreds of supporters online, and the total donations are now more than $105,000. Yeah, that is a lot of money. Now, we all met Jackie 2 weeks ago when a TikTok video showed her going off on students on her bus. Miller resigned from her job after the video came out. Now she says she'll use this money to help her pay for some time off. Looks like it'll cover a lot of that time off. All right, this year we saw a rare overlap of major holidays, Easter, Passover, and Ramadan, and that only happens 3 times in a century. Religious leaders say it's a great opportunity to spark conversations and create awareness. And our Lydia Aspara spoke to leaders of faith from around Northeast Ohio about the significance of this opportunity for dialogue.
As Catholics celebrate Easter Sunday here in Greater Cleveland, Pope Francis did the same in St. Peter's Square. His message: let us make haste to surmount our conflicts and divisions and to open our hearts to those in greatest need. Let us hasten to pursue paths of peace and fraternity. Let us rejoice at the concrete signs of hope that reach us from so many countries, beginning with those that offer assistance and welcome to all fleeing from war and poverty. But on this Easter Sunday, this was not the only holy word. The Jews are in the middle of Passover.
And here we are, members of all three monotheistic religions, thinking about these themes.
Rabbi Jonathan Cohen is with Temple Tifereth Israel in Beechwood.
Thinking about community, thinking about family, thinking about freedom, thinking about respect and dignity and hope.
A hope the Imam from the Cleveland Islamic Center also shares.
It shows like we are all human beings and we have things in common, although sometimes it's a different way we practice our faith, but we only have one Lord and this one Lord we all worship. So it makes us feel that we are all the same.
Easter Sunday marks the resurrection of Jesus Christ. For Christians, Jesus died to save all of us from our sin. Passover, in the Jewish faith, the holiday reminds them of the biblical story of the Israelites' escape from slavery in Egypt. Ramadan is a commemoration of Muhammad's first revelation. Ramadan is considered the holiest month for Muslims. All three holidays are observed differently, but it does open up conversation and dialogue on faith.
A great reminder, we've got a lot more in common than we don't. And speaking of celebrations, today is Cleveland's 13th annual DYNGUS Day. This annual Polish tradition celebrates the end of Lent. Cleveland's DYNGUS Day website calls today a citywide celebration of Polish culture and tradition full of polka and punchkis. Several bars and restaurants around the city, especially in Cleveland's Gordon Square neighborhood, are celebrating. Today's festivities started at 10 in the morning with an opening ceremony from DJ Kishka. We're live streaming events all day long today, so if you can't make it out there, you can watch those on WKYC.com. Now, statistics do show that despite Latinos making up almost 19% of the U.S. population, less than 3% of our doctors are Latinos. And that can lead to disparity in care for people who are looking for medical treatment. Our Brianna Dahlquist talks to a special group of Latina doctors who are bridging the gap and making sure that everyone, regardless of language barrier, gets the help that they need.
Meet Dr. Lenore Osario, one of the founders of the first Hispanic clinic in Cleveland.
I started practicing in 2001, so 22 years ago, and the Puerto Rican population here in Cleveland really embraced me. The floodgates open. I was seeing 30 patients a day, and I just felt so welcomed by the community.
As a Hispanic physician, she has immersed herself in the culture and understands the unique needs of Spanish-speaking residents on the near West Side. The Lutheran Hospital Clinic focuses on addressing the health needs and the different concerns of patients, including diabetes, obesity, asthma, and other mental health issues like depression and anxiety.
I saw that there was a lot of mortality, a lot of morbidity, people getting amputations, dying young, and I'm thinking, we have great hospitals here in Cleveland. Why is this happening?
And one of the many barriers, language. Dr. Monica Yapas Rios found that when patients have a primary care physician who understands their culture and their language, they have a better patient experience, better understanding of the treatment plan, and ultimately, they lead healthier lives.
There's nothing like being able to just speak in your language and expressing the words that you know, the words that you've known since your childhood, of how something hurts, how your worries that you have, and then having somebody to actually really be able to understand that without going through yet another interpreter, somebody to kind of help through that. And it's just reassuring for us to know that patients feel comfortable.
According to the U.S. Census Bureau's American Community Survey, Latinas make up just 2.4% of physicians in America. Dr. Osario says she wants young girls that feel counted out to know that becoming a doctor is possible, not just for her, but for everyone that has a heart to serve.
I want all the little girls and teenagers, anyone that's watching us right now, to just to know that you can be a doctor. I mean, we need to break the door open that we should have more women of color, not just Latinas, every color, and we need to make a more presence in the medical community.
Brianna Dahlquist, 3 News.
A lot of important lessons there. Thank you very much for that, Brianna. All right, now let's talk about our question of the day. We are in that time of year where you're not quite sure what you're going to get weather-wise. Our weather team says it's looking pretty good this week around Northeast Ohio, so we want to know, how are you going to take advantage of the nice weather this week? Post your comment to the WKYC Facebook page, and we'll talk about it during What's New at 4 o'clock. All right, now looking ahead, coming up this Thursday, we are kicking off our 2023 APL Forget-Me-Not Telethon. We're raising money for the Cleveland Animal Protective League for the amazing work they do for Northeast Ohio animals in need. So to get ahead of the game, you can text APL to 243-725, or you can visit clevelandapl.org to find out how you can help. And of course, you can participate in our telethon on Thursday, where we'll be raising money for that incredible group. Thanks for being with us for today's edition of 3 News Daily. We've got a beautiful week ahead of us. Everyone get out there, enjoy that good weather. We'll see you back here tomorrow with more top stories from around Northeast Ohio.